Hey guys, welcome to another episode of 10-Minute Trades. I think today we're going to be taking a look at Intel, ticker symbol INTC. So let's get right into it. This is the daily chart on Intel, so every candle here represents 1 day of trading. And we just zoom out here, very choppy trading chart, right? A lot of choppiness, a lot of kind of up and down, not just because of the illness, but even more recently, it's a very choppy graph. I can't remember the last time I saw a stock chart that was this choppy, just kind of all the time. So it's very interesting because Intel is not that volatile of a stock. It usually doesn't have that juicy option premiums, but it looks like it trades, the share price just bounces up and down a lot. And as we look at some of these candles, there are a lot of large candles, meaning the candle body is big and also the wicks are long. So that tells me that it fluctuates a lot intraday during trading. So it kind of goes up and down a lot given in a single trading day. So anyway, let's get right into it. It's a very odd looking stock graph here. So the first thing I like to do is look at my Fibonacci levels. So here's the thing, right? The first question I asked myself was, where do I draw these levels? Do I draw from pre-illness highs to kind of peak illness? Do I draw from peak illness to recent highs? Because we had a pretty significant sell-off even after the post-illness highs. So I thought that was a better fib level if I drew it from the recent highs, which were back on June 8th, which was about $65, down to the most recent lows, which are back on July 31st, all the way down to about $46, $47. So that's how I drew my fib levels. Let's see how they hold up. So again, from the most recent highs to the most recent lows. And if I zoom in here, you can see right now, we closed the trading day today at about $52 and some change. Yesterday, you can see we opened the day right at this 23.6% Fibonacci level. We were able to close above that. And today, we confirmed that because we were able to close the day. Even though we had a red day, we still stayed above the 23.6% Fibonacci level, which is at about $51 and some change. So that is a bullish move. That tells me that we're in a little bit of an uptrend here. And it looks like we're breaking through this channel, which I'll talk about later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. But the other things I notice is that this pink line here represents the 50-day moving average. The orange line represents the 21-day moving average. And you can see the past 4 trading days, we are trading above both of those moving averages, which is a bullish sign. And also, we can see that the 21-day moving average crossed over the 50-day moving average. So that also tells me that short term, this is a bullish move. So I really like what I'm seeing so far on Intel with the moving averages and with it breaking above this 23.6% Fibonacci level. So looks like my prediction, again, none of this is financial advice, but I think in the next few trading days coming up, I would be looking at some green days or some higher share prices in Intel. But let's try and see if we can identify areas of resistance and support. So the first line identified was actually not really a line, but more of a gap, because I will draw your attention to what happened on July 23rd and July 24th. So July 23rd was the date of most recent earnings. And as we can see, Intel actually beat earnings. They estimated 1.11 per share and they reported 1.19. So you would think that that's good news. However, look what happened. The next trading day, Intel just plummeted. I mean, it went from a close of about $60 and some change to all the way down to about $52. Actually, we ended up closing that day at $50. It dropped basically $10 or a little bit more in one trading day, if you can even say that. It basically dropped overnight and lasted throughout the next trading day. $10 off a share price of $60. That's almost 10%, almost a 10% drop in one trading day, even though it beat earnings. And I think that was because their forward guidance was not very good. But as we can see, Intel, ever since that drop in mid to end of July, has not been able to recover. But we do have that gap to be filled from roughly about, $52 or so to about $60. So there is this gap that's no man's land right now. And it looks like right now we're knocking right on that door. If I zoom in here, you can see the intraday wick here got really close, pretty much touched that $52 price mark, but we weren't able to sustain it. But like I said, we are having some bullish moves right now. So maybe these coming trading days and weeks is the time where Intel rallies now and fills this gap. But let's keep working and see what else we can identify. So I noticed there's a support level here all the way down at about $48. You can see ever since we kind of dipped back in July, this has been a fairly strong area of support. We've been bouncing up and off this line for a few times now for the past few months. So I believe that's a strong area of support for us. Let's keep working here. Now, I identified this same level at about $52 as an area of resistance, because you can see there's these two candles here on September 1 and 3 that basically touched this trend line but couldn't break above it. Same thing happened today. We got really close on July 24th. Also, if I zoom out here, you can see all the way back in July of last year, in September, in October, there were a bunch of candles that really, again, tried to break above the $52 price mark here, but just couldn't do it until we gapped up in end of October. So I think this is also a strong area of resistance right now, and it's going to be really interesting to see if Intel has enough oomph to break above this area of resistance and then now try and fill this gap. So that's the one thing I want to be looking out for these next coming trading days. Now, if we keep working here, I think there's another area of resistance all the way up here at about $62. Again, looking back, some of these candles and wicks here acting as resistance in mid-July, acted as support in early June. And as we see, if we scroll out again, there's these candles here in April and mid to end of April that acted as resistance against that price line. And again, if we zoom out here, there's really no price data that high. But I think that is going to be an area of resistance. If I zoom back in here, let's keep working, identify some more in rapid fire fashion. So 1, 2, and 3. I think these are two areas of resistance as well at about $56 and $57 for the same reasons. You can see with support here earlier this year. If I zoom back out, it was also support back in November of last year as well as December. This trend line at about $55, $56 was support in that same time frame. Also looks like it was support back in April of this year and May. So I believe those are two areas of resistance as well because we were trading below them. And a couple more areas I've identified, this one and this one. So again, I think our most recent area of support is right now at about $51. You can see back in end of August and early September, it was an area of resistance. Like I said, the past two trading days, we were able to break above that and stay above that. Was also a bit of a resistance on July 27th. If I go out here back to early April and end of March, you can see it was acting as support for a bunch of these candles. If I go out even further, again, it was support back in October of last year. Same thing with this area of support right now at $48. Looks like this candle, or this wick, I should say, some of these candles here, it was resistance all the way back last year in July. So again, I think this is another area of support. But I think right now our closest area of support is actually at $51, which is what we bounced off of the past two trading days and broke right above that 3 trading days ago. So right now, if I zoom in here, the trading range for me is about $51 and some change to about $52 and some change. So we'll have to see what Intel does tomorrow. If it's going to have a true bullish movement out and break out of this resistance and now try and fill this gap, or if it's going to stay trading and bounce between 51 and 52. Now, the last area of trend that I've noticed was right here at about 54.50 or so. And again, if I zoom out here, that was an area of maybe support, earlier this year, but more so if I zoom out even further in 2019, in July, in September, and October, you can see it was an area of resistance. So that's mainly why I drew that trend line. So I believe that right now, if we do have a green day in Intel tomorrow and break above about $52 and some change, let's say mid 52s, the next area of resistance will be about 54 and some change. Now we do have this fib level here, but there's really no price data there. So I don't know how strong of an area of support that will be, but I do think, at least in the short term right now, it looks like Intel is bullish and does want to try and fill this gap and maybe want to trade in the low 50s to mid $50 range. Now, I didn't notice any sort of real trend line ever since this big drop in end of July, but I noticed more of a horizontal channel. So if I draw a parallel channel from the recent lows, which were about $48, to the recent highs, which were about $52, you can see for the past few months, we've been trading in this price range, just up and down, bouncing off the top and bouncing off the bottom. And right now, again, we basically tried to break through. We closed just shy of the top of this area of channel. So I think tomorrow, Friday, the last trading day of the week, If we can open and close above 52 change, if we can open and close at $53 or more, I think that confirms a very short to midterm bullish movement, at least on Intel. And we do have earnings coming up on October 20th. So in a little less than a month now, we have earnings, and I would be a little bit scared if I was playing options or thinking about swing trading Intel, because we saw what happened last earnings session, even though they beat their earnings per share estimates. So if I were to trade options, I would definitely want to be completely clear and free of Intel before earnings happens, because I don't want to take this risk of this gigantic sell-off like we had last earnings. But that's just me. Obviously, nothing I say is ever financial advice. No technical analysis is ever 100% accurate. These are just my opinions. Let me know in the YouTube comments below if you agree or disagree with my technical analysis. Let me know what ticker you want me to draw next. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And as always, happy trading.